February 12, 2026. China invades Taiwan overnight. By morning, every Costco, Walmart, and Home Depot in America has lines wrapped around the building. By noon, the shelves are empty. Not just low, empty. And here's what those people bought in their panic shopping window: toilet paper, canned soup, bottled water, batteries, rice, pasta. The exact same list they bought during COVID. Comfort supplies, familiar items, things that make them feel prepared. And 6 months later, they're dead. Not because they didn't prepare, because they prepared in February instead of January, because they bought with panic instead of analysis, because they grabbed 40 items that don't matter and missed the 20 items that do. You're watching this in January. The Taiwan strait is tense but stable. Shelves are full. Prices are normal. You have exactly one decision to make: stockpile the right 20 items now, or join the February panic and die with everyone else. What do people buy when they panic? The same predictable garbage every single time: toilet paper, bottled water, canned soup, bread, milk, batteries. Watch any crisis unfold, and the pattern repeats with mechanical precision. COVID. Hurricanes, winter storms, supply chain rumors. The products change slightly, but the psychology is identical. They're not thinking, they're reacting. Human panic follows evolutionary programming carved into our brains over millions of years. When threat activates, we don't analyze. We copy. We seek comfort. We grab what looks familiar and feels safe. The neighbor's loading their cart with pasta, so you grab pasta. The news shows empty shelves, so you buy before shelves empty. Everyone's running toward the bottled water, so water must be critical. It's pattern-based behavior. Predictable, fatal. Here's what they're actually doing when they panic buy. They're stockpiling for a temporary disruption. 2 weeks, maybe a month. A hurricane passes. Power comes back. Stores restock. Life returns to normal. That's the mental model. Short-term inconvenience requiring short-term supplies. WW3 is not a short-term inconvenience. When China invades Taiwan and the US responds, you're looking at 6 to 24 months minimum before any supply chain stabilization. Minimum. Manufacturing collapses. Shipping stops. Fuel becomes scarce. Grocery stores don't restock. The grid becomes unreliable. Martial law locks down movement. This isn't a 2-week power outage. This is systemic collapse that lasts seasons, maybe years, and 99% of people are preparing for the wrong scenario. They stockpile variety and comfort. Familiar foods. Normal routines. Things that make them feel like life will continue mostly unchanged. They buy 40 different items in small quantities instead of the 20 critical items in large quantities. They prepare emotionally instead of tactically. The strategic gap is massive. While they're buying what makes them feel prepared, you're buying what actually keeps you alive. While they're operating on panic and instinct, you're operating on analysis and mathematics. There are 4 categories the masses completely miss: unglamorous medical supplies, calorie-dense food staples, infrastructure maintenance items, knowledge preservation tools. Those 4 categories contain the 20 items that separate survival from starvation. Let's start with the category nobody wants to talk about because it's not sexy, not comforting, and absolutely critical. Medical and hygiene items the masses ignore until it's too late. Picture the pharmacy on February 12th when the invasion starts. The looting begins within hours. People are smashing through doors, fighting over painkillers, grabbing trauma kits and antibiotics. First aid supplies disappear in minutes. Bandages, gauze, antiseptic, splints. The tactical medical section gets stripped clean by people who watch too many action movies. You walk past all of it to the aisle nobody's touching. Item 1. Anti-diarrheal medication. Imodium, generic loperamide, whatever brand is cheapest. Buy 200 doses minimum. Cost right now in January? About $15 for a bottle that handles multiple incidents. Here's why it matters. Diarrhea kills more people in crisis scenarios than bullets, bombs, and radiation combined. Not an exaggeration. Historical fact. Dysentery killed more soldiers in every war before World War II than combat. Cholera outbreaks, contaminated water, poor sanitation. The pattern repeats. The timeline is brutal. Severe diarrhea leads to dehydration. Dehydration leads to electrolyte imbalance. Electrolyte imbalance leads to cardiac arrest and multi-organ failure. 72 hours from onset to death if untreated. One compromised water source. One questionable meal. One sanitation failure. And your entire survival plan collapses into a race against your own digestive system. $15 prevents that, but nobody buys it because it's not heroic. Item 2. Dental emergency kit. Temporary filling compound, clove oil for pain, dental picks, maybe extraction tools if you can handle it. Total cost $30 to $50 depending on completeness. A tooth infection in normal times means a dentist appointment. A tooth infection in WW3 means sepsis. Bacteria from an abscessed tooth enters your bloodstream. Sepsis kills in days without antibiotics. And antibiotics run out. Temporary fillings buy time. Clove oil numbs pain. The kit keeps a minor problem from becoming a fatal one. But it's not exciting, so the masses ignore it. Item 3. Diaper rash cream and petroleum jelly. Buy multiple large containers. Total investment $20 to $30. Skin breakdown kills. When hygiene collapses and you can't shower regularly, moisture and friction create infections. Rashes become open sores. Open sores become infected wounds. Infected wounds become systemic infections. Petroleum jelly creates a moisture barrier. Diaper rash cream treats breakdown before it becomes critical. Unglamorous, unsexy, absolutely essential for long-term survival when you're not bathing daily. Item 4. Menstrual supplies. If you have women in your household or group, this is non-negotiable. If you're male and think it doesn't apply, you're thinking wrong. 6 months minimum. More likely 12 to 24 months of supply chain collapse. Do the math. One cycle every 28 days. 12 months equals roughly 13 cycles. Multiple women in the household multiplies that number. Reusable menstrual cups plus disposable backup. Total cost $100 to $150 for complete coverage. Supply chains die in week 1. This isn't something you can improvise. The pattern is obvious. They stockpile tactical fantasy. Trauma kits for bullet wounds they'll never treat. You stockpile biological reality. The mundane failures that actually kill people when civilization collapses. Everyone's buying canned soup and pasta right now. Comfort food. Familiar meals. They'll be sick of it in 2 weeks and malnourished in 2 months. You're stockpiling calorie mathematics, not nostalgia. They're loading shopping carts with canned chili, Chef Boyardee, frozen dinners, soup variety packs. Comfort food. Meals that remind them of normal life. Walk up to any cart in the panic buy and ask them a simple question. What's the total calorie count? How many days does that actually feed your family? They don't know. They didn't calculate. They grabbed what felt right. Not enough. Because they're stockpiling emotions, not energy. Your body doesn't care about flavor diversity. It doesn't care about familiar meals or comfort food. It needs one thing. Calories. Energy to maintain organ function, body temperature, physical activity. 2,000 calories per person per day minimum. Non-negotiable. Do the math. Family of 4 needs 8,000 calories per day. 6 months is 180 days. That's 1,440,000 calories you need stockpiled before the shooting starts. 1.4 million calories. Now walk into your pantry and start counting. Not cans. Calories. Item 5. White rice. Bulk quantity. 50 to 100 pounds minimum. Cost right now, about $30 to $50 depending on where you buy. 1 pound of white rice contains approximately 1,650 calories. 100 pounds equals 165,000 calories. Indefinite shelf life if stored dry in sealed containers. Zero refrigeration required. Cooks with just water and heat. Rice is the calorie foundation, the base for every meal, the cheapest energy per pound you can buy. They're buying variety packs and meal kits. You're buying bulk staples. Item 6. Dried beans and lentils, 50 pounds minimum. Cost roughly $50 to $75 for quality dried legumes. Beans provide protein, fiber, and calories. Combined with rice, you get complete nutrition. All essential amino acids. 1 pound of dried beans is roughly 1,500 calories. 50 pounds equals 75,000 calories. Shelf life over a year, often multiple years if stored properly. Cost comparison. Dried beans run about $1 per pound. Freeze-dried meal kits run $10 per pound or more. Same calories, 10 times the cost. Item 7. Cooking oil, multiple gallons. Vegetable oil, canola, whatever's cheapest. Cost about $30 to $50 for 5 gallons. 1 pound of cooking oil contains approximately 4,000 calories. Fat is the most energy-dense macronutrient. Your body cannot efficiently absorb nutrients without dietary fat. You can eat rice and beans every day and still develop malnutrition if you're not getting fat. Flavor matters at month 6. Plain rice and beans become psychologically intolerable. Oil makes food palatable. It's not luxury, it's sustainability. And here's what the masses miss entirely. They stockpile carbs and protein. They forget fat. 3 months in, they're eating, but not absorbing. Losing weight despite full stomachs. Item 8. Sugar and honey. 25 pounds minimum. Cost roughly $30 to $40. Pure energy. Honey never expires. Sugar lasts indefinitely if kept dry. Both provide immediate glucose. Both preserve other foods. Both serve as trade currency when money becomes worthless. Psychological sustenance matters. Morale collapses when every meal is flavorless survival rations. A small amount of sweetness maintains mental stability. Let me show you the mathematics that separates life from death. 100 pounds of rice, 50 pounds of beans, 5 gallons of oil, 25 pounds of sugar. Total cost approximately $200. Total calories roughly 400,000. That's 200 days of survival for one person or 50 days for a family of 4. Compare that to freeze-dried meal kits. $1,200 buys you maybe 30 days of food at best. Same money, 6 times less survival time. They stockpile variety. They get bored, waste food, starve. You stockpile mathematics. You survive. Food covered. But food is worthless if you can't drink or cook it. Let's talk about the infrastructure items that separate humans from corpses when utilities die. Average person needs 1 gallon of water per day for drinking. Family of 4 needs 4 gallons daily. 6 months requires 720 gallons. Where do you store 720 1-gallon bottles? You don't. You produce it. They're buying cases of bottled water, stacking them in garages and basements, spending hundreds of dollars on a finite resource that runs out in weeks. When those bottles are empty, they're done. No backup plan, no production capability. You're buying production infrastructure. Item 9. Gravity-fed water filtration system. Berkey type or equivalent. Cost approximately $250 to $350 depending on size and filter capacity. These systems produce clean drinking water from almost any source. Creek water, rainwater, swimming pool water, questionable municipal supply. The multi-stage filtration removes bacteria, viruses, heavy metals, chemical contaminants. One set of replacement filters processes roughly 6,000 gallons before needing replacement. Infinite clean water from any available source. No electricity required. Gravity does the work. The hydration equation is non-negotiable. 3 days without water, and you're dead. Not 3 weeks. Not 3 months. 3 days. Dehydration kills faster than starvation, faster than most injuries, faster than exposure. A functional filtration system is worth more than a stockpile of food. Item 10. Water storage containers. 2 to 3 55-gallon drums minimum. Cost roughly $150 to $200 for food-grade containers. Emergency buffer while you locate water sources. Rainwater collection capacity. Bathing and sanitation water separate from drinking supply. Rotation system to keep stored water fresh. Rigid containers. Not collapsible bladders that puncture and leak. Not cheap plastic that degrades. Food-grade polyethylene designed for long-term water storage. Item 11. Multi-fuel camping stove with fuel diversity. Cost $100 to $200 for quality multi-fuel unit. Propane, white gas, kerosene, wood gasification capability. When one fuel source becomes unavailable, you switch to another. Cooking equals survival. You cannot eat raw rice and dried beans. The masses buy single-fuel stoves. Propane runs out, stove becomes worthless. You buy adaptability. Item 12. Fuel stabilizer and stored gasoline. Cost approximately $50 for stabilizer, plus whatever fuel you can legally and safely store. Vehicles, generators, trade currency. Fuel stabilizer extends storage life to 2 years or more. 20 to 30 gallons represents strategic reserve. When gas stations go dry and prices hit $20 per gallon, if you can even find it, you're operational while they're stranded. Production beats stockpiling. That's the paradigm separating survivors from corpses. Finite stockpiles run out. Always. Production capability sustains. Water filter keeps producing. Multi-fuel stove keeps cooking. Fuel reserve keeps you mobile. Utilities fail in World War III scenarios. Power grid becomes unreliable or dies completely. Water treatment plants shut down. Gas stations empty. The infrastructure you depend on every single day disappears. The prepared have production systems. The unprepared have bottles and cans that run empty. Water, food, fuel covered. Those keep you alive for 6 months. But at month 7, when your equipment breaks and theirs is already trash, what separates you? Tools, repair capability, the items nobody thinks about until it's too late. Month 8, your water filter clogs. Your camp stove won't ignite. Your shelter tarp tears in a windstorm. What do? Drive to REI and buy replacements? From where? With what money? Using what supply chain? This is why they die, and you don't. You stockpiled repair capability. The masses think in terms of acquisition. How much gear should I buy? How many backup items? They stockpile quantity. 5 flashlights, 3 knives, 2 stoves. When something breaks, they discard it and grab the backup. When the backups run out, they're done. You think in terms of maintenance. How do I keep it working? Item 13. Manual tools. Hand-operated drill, crosscut saw, files, adjustable wrenches, screwdrivers, pliers. Cost approximately $150 to $250 for quality steel tools. When the power grid fails permanently, power tools become worthless hunks of metal. Cordless drills with dead batteries, circular saws with no electricity. Beautiful tools. Completely useless. Manual tools work forever. A hand drill makes holes. A crosscut saw cuts lumber. Files sharpen metal. Wrenches tighten bolts. No electricity required. No batteries. No fuel. Just human power and mechanical advantage. Quality steel tools last generations. Depression-era tools still work today because steel doesn't degrade. The masses buy cheap power tools. You buy quality hand tools. Item 14. Fasteners and adhesives. Variety pack. Screws, bolts, washers, nuts, zip ties, duct tape, epoxy, superglue. Cost roughly $100 to $150 for comprehensive selection. Small items. Massive utility. A screw repairs a door hinge. Zip ties secure torn fabric. Epoxy patches a cracked water container. Superglue fixes broken equipment. These are the items that keep everything else functional. Hardware stores get looted last. Nobody's fighting over boxes of screws when they can grab generators and power tools. You walk in calmly and buy the boring necessities that actually matter. Item 15. Sewing supplies, heavy-duty needles, strong thread, buttons, fabric patches, leather repair materials. Cost approximately $50 to $75 for quality supplies. Clothing doesn't last 2 years under hard use. Tears, rips, worn seams, lost buttons. New clothes become unavailable. The choice becomes repair or go without. Sewing extends equipment life. A patch jacket works. A torn jacket doesn't. A repaired pack carries weight. A broken pack is garbage. The skill is simple. The impact is survival. Item 16. Sharpening stones, coarse and fine grit. Cost roughly $30 to $50 for quality stones. Dull knives require more pressure. More pressure means more effort. More effort means fatigue. Fatigue means mistakes. Mistakes mean injuries. A dull axe is more dangerous than a sharp one because you're fighting the tool instead of working with it. Sharpening maintains cutting edges indefinitely. One stone lasts decades. A sharp knife, a sharp axe, sharp tools mean efficiency. Efficiency means you conserve energy for what matters. The masses let tools dull and discard them. You maintain tools and use them for years. This is the separation point. 6-month survivors versus multi-year survivors. Resource consumption versus resource maintenance. Tools maintain physical systems, but there's one system most preppers completely ignore until it's catastrophically too late. Information, communication, knowledge, the invisible infrastructure that multiplies everything else. When the internet dies permanently, what happens to your knowledge? You need to purify water, but your filter broke. You don't remember the boiling time. You don't remember the chemical ratios for chlorine treatment. You can't Google it. The information is gone. This is why you stockpiled information, while they stockpiled ammunition. Item 17. Offline reference books, medical guides, survival manuals, wild edible plant identification, mechanical repair, basic construction. Cost approximately $100 to $150 for essential library. Paper doesn't need power, books don't crash. Physical references work when every digital device is dead or useless. The knowledge stays accessible. Specific titles matter. Generic survival books are worthless. You need detailed medical procedures, dosing charts, diagnostic flowcharts. You need illustrated plant guides with clear photos, not artistic sketches. You need mechanical repair manuals with diagrams and specifications. Knowledge equals problem-solving capability. Problems you can't predict require solutions you haven't memorized. Item 18. Printed maps. Local area, regional coverage, topographic details. Cost roughly $50 to $75 for comprehensive map set. GPS dies when satellites degrade or ground stations shut down. Phone maps require internet. When both fail, navigation becomes impossible without physical maps. Identify water sources. Plan movement routes. Locate potential shelter areas. Understand terrain elevation and natural barriers. Laminated maps survive weather. Paper maps work forever. The masses rely on phones. You rely on paper. Item 19. Hand crank or solar-powered radio. AM, FM, shortwave, weather bands. Cost approximately $50 to $100 for quality emergency radio. Information access when the grid is down. Emergency broadcasts, situational awareness, weather warnings. Know what's happening beyond your immediate position. Isolated equals vulnerable. You cannot make strategic decisions without information. A radio tells you where military activity is concentrating, where refugee movements are heading, what areas to avoid, what resources might be available. Battery-dependent radios die when batteries run out. Hand crank and solar models work indefinitely. Item 20. Writing supplies, notebooks, pens, pencils, carbon paper. Cost approximately $30 to $50 for substantial supply. Record keeping, inventory management, communication when digital systems are dead, documentation of events, decisions, resource usage. Carbon paper creates copies without electricity. Pencils never dry out like pens. Graphite lasts. Information management becomes critical when you can't rely on memory and you can't access databases. That's the complete list. 20 items, 4 strategic categories, medical and hygiene. Items 1 through 4, the biological realities that actually kill people. Food. Items 5 through 8, calorie mathematics over comfort variety. Infrastructure. Items 9 through 12, water, fuel, production capability. Tools and knowledge. Items 13 through 20. Maintenance, repair, information advantage. The masses stockpile consumption. Finite supplies that run out, you stockpile capability. Systems that sustain. At month 12 and beyond, problem-solving beats resource hoarding. You can't stockpile solutions to unknown problems. You stockpile the capability to solve problems as they emerge. Information multiplies everything else. Knowledge plus tools plus resources equals solutions. Without knowledge, resources get wasted on failed attempts. 20 items. 4 strategic categories the 99% miss, but items alone don't guarantee survival. Let me show you how these 20 items form a system that's worth more than the sum of its parts. Here's what separates random stockpiling from strategic systems thinking. These 20 items don't sit in a closet waiting for crisis. They interact. They depend on each other. They form a survival system. Medical items prevent the infections and illnesses that would disable you from gathering water, using tools, maintaining shelter, cooking food. You can't operate with dysentery or a tooth abscess. Health enables everything else. Food provides the energy to perform physical labor. Water collection is work. Tool use requires strength. Shelter maintenance demands effort. Without calories, you can't execute any survival task effectively. Water enables food preparation. Rice and beans are useless dry. Water allows hygiene practices that prevent the medical issues that disable you. Water cleans tools and equipment. Tools maintain all other equipment. Water filters clog and need cleaning. Stoves break and need repair. Shelters require construction and maintenance. Without tools, everything else degrades to uselessness. Information tells you how to use everything optimally. Water purification ratios, medical treatment procedures, tool techniques, calorie calculations. Without knowledge, you waste resources on failed attempts. The system is interconnected. Weakness in one category creates vulnerability across the entire network. Missing medical supplies leads to infections that prevent work. No water means no food preparation. Broken tools that can't be repaired make everything harder. Lack of information means inefficient resource use. 20 items together create more value than 20 items isolated. That's the network effect. Practical application. Don't store all 20 categories in one location. Fire, theft, evacuation scenarios make single-point storage catastrophic. Distribute strategically. Test and rotate now. Use the water filter. Cook with the stove. Practice tool repairs. Read the reference books. Rotate food stocks. Test everything before crisis, not during crisis. System built. 20 items mapped. You understand the strategic categories. Now for the part nobody wants to hear. The dark truth about stockpiling. Everything I just told you has an expiration date. Month 18. Your rice runs low. Your water filter eventually fails beyond repair. Your tools break. What then? The truth nobody wants to acknowledge. All stockpiles are finite. You're buying time, not permanence. 20 items give you 6 to 24 months, depending on household size and consumption discipline. Not forever. Time to figure out what comes next. Other people notice when you're still operational at month 12. You're drinking clean water while they're sick. You're eating while they're hungry. You're functional while they're desperate. Operational security becomes impossible long-term. Desperation becomes violence. January 2026 is your last calm window. Spring brings escalation. Summer brings crisis. Once panic starts, These 20 items disappear from shelves in 48 hours, not slowly, instantly. And prices multiply when scarcity hits. That $30 bag of rice becomes $90 if you can find it. The 99% already lost by waiting. February means higher prices and reduced selection. March means shortages begin. April onward means panic buying, empty shelves, unavailable items. The decision window is now, not later. Here's what you do right now. Open a spreadsheet. List all 20 items. Price check each one online. Amazon, Costco, local hardware stores, pharmacy chains. Calculate total cost. Realistically, you're looking at $800 to $1,500 for the complete list, depending on quality choices and household size. Buy distributed. 25% this week. Another 25% next week. Remaining 50% by end of January. Spread purchases across multiple stores. Don't draw attention buying everything at once. Store distributed, not all in one location. Fire, theft, evacuation scenarios make single-point storage catastrophic. Test everything before you need it. Run water through the filter. Cook meals on the stove. Use the tools. Read the reference books. Know the equipment works and know how to use it. The binary choice. Act in January when items are available, affordable, and nobody's competing for them. Or wait until February, March, April, when panic hits, prices spike, and shelves empty. 99% will scroll past this video and do nothing. They'll tell themselves it won't happen. They'll say they have time. They'll wait until the emergency broadcast system activates, until the traffic jams start, until the panic is real. And then they'll join the stampede, fighting over toilet paper and canned soup. Spending triple the money for a fraction of the supplies, running out in 3 months and starving with worthless stockpiles. You're different. You're watching this in January. You're thinking strategically while they're thinking emotionally. You're willing to act when action is free. The question is whether you're part of the 1% who just thinks about it, or the 0.1% who actually creates the spreadsheet, prices the items, and buys them this month. When February 12th comes and China invades Taiwan, you'll know exactly which category you're in. Welcome to January 2026, the last calm month. While they're scrolling, you're stockpiling. Class dismissed.